We are an improvised parody of the original Star Trek series. How many people have seen us before? Oh, a lot of people. Great. So for those of you who are new to us, we are an improv troupe that's been doing improvised Star Trek for a couple years in Seattle. And what we like to do is, in a few moments, a crew member will come out and get suggestions from you all that will make up the content of tonight's episode. We are completely improvised, so no two shows are ever the same. If you want to find out more about where we are in Seattle, where we're performing, and where our shows are next, SeattleExperimentalTheater.com, and you can like us on Facebook as well. Thank you so much for coming out to the show. Enjoy.
Thank you for coming today to training. My name is Lieutenant Joe Michaels. Normally, one of our security crew introduces our training exercises, but we seem to have a shortage of security officers right now. I've instructed the staff to look into the matter, but until then, it's just you and me. So we are defining the mission parameters for today's episode, and we will need some answers from you to finish defining those mission parameters. So please feel free to shout out any answer that seems appropriate. The first question I have for you, my trainees, my Starfleet Academy cadets, is what is something that someone would be well known for, either infamous or famous, something that a talent or an accomplishment?
Catching Pokemon.
Catching Pokemon, thank you. So something someone would be famous for, catching Pokemon. Another thing I'm looking for to define our mission parameters is we have an officer here. His name is Commander Spock. And he is, in fact, a Vulcan if you've never encountered Vulcans before. And Vulcans don't always understand human traditions. So what is something that a Vulcan who's not familiar with humanity might be curious about?
British tea time.
I heard British tea time. Thank you. So, and the last question I have for you to define our mission today is, what is the sort of secret you might have, or something that might irritate somebody you're traveling with on a road trip or a long journey that you wouldn't necessarily talk openly about?
Body odor.
I heard body odor. So our mission will be defined today by body odor, by catching Pokemon, and by Mr. Spock's curiosity about British tea time. Please enjoy your time on the Enterprise.
Captain's log, stardate 6832.4. We are preparing to rendezvous with a science vessel piloted by Admiral Alexander Goss. Kirk out.
I do believe that it is time you and I share in an age-old tradition.
I am very curious where this will end up.
Mr. Spock, I just meant that it is precisely 1630, which means that it is 4:30 Earth time, the perfect time for tea.
I see.
Yes.
Why does tea taste better at this time of day?
It's not that it particularly tastes better at this time of day, Mr. Spock. It's just a time for us to share together.
I see. We are sharing this time together now. There is no beverage involved. I do not see how a beverage would change this.
Mr. Spock, I just think that a nice little bit of honey might do you a little bit of good.
Honey is not a very good beverage. Although it is liquid, it does not pour easily.
Well, let me just tell you that Earl Grey with a little bit of honey will do you nicely. What do you say? To the replicator?
I will partake in this activity. I'm confused why you are so set on me learning all these old earthen traditions. After all, I am trying to learn about humanity now. And while you can learn about humanity through its roots, there are some that simply do not shed light on humanity as a whole.
I will take an old-fashioned cup of tea and good company over any kind of fancy hodgepodge machinery.
Well, if you bring the cup of tea, I will do my best to be good company.
I'll make sure it's hot for you, Mr. Spock.
Ah.
Shall we go to the cafeteria?
Maintain current position.
They're all stopped.
I look forward to seeing Alexander Voss again.
Yes, his work is fascinating. You know he's cataloged more unique and rare species than any other Starfleet officer.
I do, in fact. Especially amazing is his collection of creatures from microbiomes. I have a small collection myself, I have to confess.
Boom, I never knew.
Yes, Starfleet scientists in their off time sometimes synthesize small environments and grow creatures on them. And then encourage them to fight each other non-lethally.
Strange. Seems to be a hobby I've never partaken in.
Well, I assure you, we keep it humane, but we do like to have them compete sometimes.
For what purpose, Bones?
Oh, simply fun. They have personalities, at least they seem to, depending on the type. Well, there's all sorts of microbiomes. Any class of planet can be simulated very small, lightning planets and insect planets.
And each small creature evolves and changes and adjusts to fit its habitat.
Exactly.
And then those creatures are pitted against each other in not so deadly combat?
Exactly. For fun, they enjoy it.
I'm not sure, Bones. In Earth's history, I'm sure you remember, there was a time when humans pitted human against each other in deadly combat. It was called Roman times. Gladiators would fight to the death.
They don't fight to the death, see? They just knock each other unconscious.
Ah, so much more like a later human tradition, UFC fighting.
Yeah. And then you feed them candy to make them feel better about themselves.
See. Well, I suppose everybody has to have a hobby.
Well, Admiral Voss is the best I've heard. I look forward to meeting him.
Speaking of,
Short-range sensors picking up ship dropping out of a warp, Captain.
just in time.
Confirmed it is the USS Intrepid.
Oh, the lieutenant is... It's 4 o'clock, of course, I know where she is. I'll open my own hailing frequency.
It's the green button, Jim.
I know that one. Admiral Goss, this is Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. Do you read?
Captain Kirk, this is Admiral Goss.
Are you prepared to join us on our ship?
Yes, Kirk, me and my party will be there shortly.
Very good. I know our science officer and apparently our medical officer will be very curious to hear about your work.
Of course.
I'll have them meet you in the transporter room.
Excellent. Goss out.
Well, Bones?
I'll collect Mr. Spock and we'll meet him there.
Excellent.
Can I ask you something? Are you at all concerned about Admiral Voss's other tendencies?
Perhaps a little bit, but I'm confident that our crew can handle whatever comes our way.
All right. Well, I'll trust you if you trust them. Still.
Commander. Admiral, thank you for having me on board. I've been looking forward to this. Your scientific research is great importance and great curiosity to me.
Yes. Well, should be important to all of Starfleet, I would say.
Well, on behalf of the Enterprise, we welcome you. There are some leftover cucumber sandwiches from earlier if you would like. Although, to be totally forthcoming, they are disappointing to fans of both cucumbers and sandwiches.
I understand.
We had a small accident when Mr. Spock tried to replicate finger sandwiches.
Yes, you can't be too literal with that replicator, can you?
So I've learned.
Welcome aboard, Alex. It's good to see you
Ah,
again.
good to see you again, Doctor.
It's been 20 years, I believe.
Yes, and how is your collection growing?
Well, I've kept it small, but strong.
Ah, I'm sure. I would love to, maybe, spar with you a little later.
Perhaps we shall. I'll see you in the rec room at maybe 1600 hours.
Excellent. And have you met my lieutenant?
I haven't. It's very nice to meet you.
Lieutenant Joe Michaels, wow, your southern charm precedes you, Doctor.
Well, I try to let it. It's nice to have such a beautiful member of Starfleet on board the ship.
Lieutenant Michaels is the foremost expert on small animals in microbiomes.
Really?
I actually helped discover two of the most recent types, Steel and Fairy. They were previously unknown to the Federation.
You studied under Dr. Ash.
I did. And his teacher, Professor Oak, yes.
Yes, yes.
I would be curious to study your collection. I admit I did start to get into it myself, but I realized that the more animals we started to discover, I still only really used the same 6 when I was battling.
It's perfectly natural.
Fair enough. We're hoping to evolve those to, well, get a little more power from them, shall we say.
Doctor, I will let you show them the ship. I believe I'm going to stay. Something seems not right with the transporter. There's an odd odor coming from it.
Your manners, Mr. Spock.
I do not see what is wrong with pointing out that the transporter is having issues. Things smell fine. We use the transporter. Now things do not smell fine.
Yes, the transporter. Jim Kirk, our captain, will be happy to see you.
Oh, fantastic, yes.
Take you straight to the bridge unless you'd like to go to your quarters first.
No, the bridge would be fine. I would love to see the bridge of such an amazing ship.
All right, then. Right this way.
Thank you, Doctor. Commander?
Odd. I suppose I was mistaken.
Course for Science Outpost Quattro.
Science Outpost 4, sir. In?
Warp 4.
Warp 4.
Warp Quattro.
And long story short, there are only 6 towns on the entire planet.
Admiral on the bridge.
Ah, as you were. Captain, it's good to meet you.
Likewise, we are happy to have you aboard.
Yes, I've heard so much about this amazing ship of yours.
Yes, we're very fond of her.
Yes, and your great crew, I hear.
We are very fond of them as well.
Yes. And how long do we expect this trip to take?
Well, at current speed and heading, Ensign, our arrival time. Ensign, our arrival time at current speed and heading.
4 hours, sir.
Ah, yes. Very good, Ensign, very good, yes.
Plenty of time for you to rest and relax during this not so arduous journey.
I wish I could relax. I have so much to do.
I see.
A lot of battling to do before now and then.
Certainly you want to be cleaned up and refreshed before that happens.
No, I feel just fine.
Really?
Yes.
Admiral's a bit of a workaholic.
Yes.
I can tell.
Much work to do. Well, I see your crew has it in hand here.
Of course.
Maybe we will proceed to your battle deck?
Very well, if that's how you choose to spend your time.
I can do nothing else.
Very good.
Thank you, Commander.
I'm rerouting all available power, sir.
I warned you.
Doctor. It's very curious. I was over at my communications console when the Admiral and his companion arrived. Well, there was a peak in the ionic pulsar waves.
What does that signify, Lieutenant?
Well, usually one person is one pico of a pike wave. And then the pike waves go into the ionic pulses. I mean, it's simple quantum physics.
Of course, yes.
But essentially, well, it spiked very high, almost as if not one person came on the bridge, not two people, but perhaps 40 or 50.
Like a Pika anomaly.
Yes.
Holmes, have you given them a medical examination or found anything in their records that would suggest such an activity?
Well, of course, there is the issue with the Admiral's glands, but beyond that, nothing abnormal. He brought his collection on board the ship, but these creatures have their simple size. They're not real. They wouldn't register as a human life form.
Even in that quantity?
I wouldn't think in that quantity. He did mention having done some work, and that lieutenant of his seems to be quite the expert.
Lieutenant, what are you reading now?
Normal. It only shows that there are 4 of us on the bridge.
Run a ship-wide analysis. Look for your Pico rays somewhere. Tell me what you find.
On E-deck, there is a higher rate of Pika waves.
Deck.
That's on the way to the battle bridge.
So it seems to be following them.
It would appear so, Captain.
Well, perhaps I should follow them. You should swing by. These battles are quite the sight to behold. Some of them last up to 30 seconds.
I think I've had my fill of fighting strange and unusual species.
Well, I suppose that might be the case. The lieutenant might like to meet you.
Ah, Lieutenant Michaels.
Yes. She's a flower type, I believe.
Well, then perhaps I will swing by. Just for the sake of diplomatic relations and whatnot.
Dispatching engineering units to E-deck, sir, to pre-scrub air filtration systems.
Very good, Ensign.
Godspeed.
Take this stone. Why don't you want to evolve? You'll become more powerful.
Because you can't force it, you know.
I just wish they would see reason.
I know. Hard sometimes, but what can we do? It's who we are. It's what we are.
We need to elevate Starfleet.
You're right, of course. This non-lethality of theirs is troubling. If only we could find a way to bring their power up and make them more lethal. Beat the entire Klingon Empire. It's just a few of these amazing creatures of ours.
Make the mistake of fighting with a single race instead of the power of evolution from multiple strings of DNA.
Ah, it's crazy. If only I could get Starfleet to listen to me. But they insist, no, these creatures, they must remain non-lethal and only knock each other out. Ah, it's
But
ridiculous.
if a certain Captain Kirk would come to our side, certainly Starfleet could see reason.
Saying, Lieutenant, if we could get James T. Kirk on our side, why, no one could deny him. God, that man is a god. Only I had half his charisma, half his manliness, and half his good smells.
There are things people can do about those sorts of things, Admiral. This creature here knows sweet scent. So you could deploy that strategically.
No, it wouldn't work. In order to truly bond with these creatures, I must maintain my animal smell. The musk I give off, they love. Ah, Doctor.
Admiral.
Yes.
I see you made yourself at home. Why, I don't recognize this little guy.
It's called an EV.
Well, do you mind if I add it to my science decks?
Oh, please do. You'll find it's quite fascinating. While some of these creatures from these microbiomes tend towards one specific type, this creature holds within it incredible power, almost of an indeterminate nature.
Fascinating.
They can gain an affinity to plants, or to water, or to fire.
Ah! Well, that almost felt real.
Yes.
They're quite powerful, even at that small size, Doctor.
Oh, you're saying this can affect not just other creatures, but us?
Us, Klingons, Romulans.
Have you tried? I've never met a Klingon interested in doing battle.
Oh, well, no,
At least in this way.
Oh, we don't just throw them out into space, but let's just say their powers are formidable, Doctor.
Indeed they are. This is interesting, almost struggling. I mean, they've always been a harmless pursuit. They've been fun. Good way for the crew to get out and exercise, finding them in the decks, and we're able to let them run free due to their harmless nature.
Oh, McCoy, I didn't think you would have such a limited imagination.
Well,
Fun?
Think there's ways things should be, certain ways, traditions.
Traditions. Would we still be the great power Starfleet is if we had stuck with traditions, never moving forward, never going past our solar system?
I've just heard troubling reports. For instance, when the Niantic space station took over research, they made some changes. People objected.
Well, those changes were for the better, I say.
Well, Admiral, you're the expert, and you too, Lieutenant, appear to be quite the expert, so I'll defer to you.
I think we're all on the same side, Doctor. I mean, wouldn't you say we want to unite all people within our nation?
I would hope so, yes.
We must defend the evils of truth and love.
Yes, that sounds good.
And
Sounds
Starfleet
good.
works to extend its reach to the stars above.
All that sounds fantastic, almost musical.
Certainly music to our ears, Doctor. Do you think the captain would mind an intrusion? I'd love to introduce Evie.
I think he'd be happy to meet Evie. I can give you his quarters, in fact, if you'd like to swing by. He has an open-door policy.
I love how trusting this crew is. Truly a well-oiled machine.
Yes.
Powerful and accomplished.
That sounds right, too.
Well, thank you, Doctor. I shall take you up on that offer.
Of course.
Thank you, Doctor.
Captain, I understand you do not like to be interrupted when you are preparing to go to a visitor's quarters. However, I feel as though I need to talk to you about some concerns I have regarding Admiral Goss.
Very well, Mr. Spock, since you're here.
I know that human behavior is not my specialty, but working with the small biodome-encased creatures that we have nicknamed for short bionimals, well, I know that myself and the doctor, men of science, we tend to study them, learning from the way they battle, looking into their wisdom. And then, of course, those in engineering and security who enjoy collecting, why, they enjoy seeing the courage that grows from those animals within. But many of your fellow yellow-shirted officers tend to just want to hang out and make friends when they do it. I'm afraid I don't know why someone would take that much time and effort to become as powerful as they are when they are an officer, when they have other duties.
Yes, well, Mr.
Spock, this all seems outside my range of knowledge. After all, I'm told that the exercise itself is not about the development of the bioanimals itself so much as the social time and engagement.
Captain, I understand this may be outside your range of knowledge, but might I remind you that that has never stopped you from sticking your foot into things before.
Well, perhaps I see this as harmless, Mr. Spock. I mean, there are certainly times when people have had to fight to the death against their will. Yes?
It is true. I am saying that as a fellow officer, perhaps you may have a bond with him. He may be willing to share with you as though you are on his team. Sometimes when we are training these animals, even though we all have the same goal, we can also be competitive towards each other. And simply by wearing the same uniform, you feel as though you are on the same team as those around you.
Mr. Spock, you want me to be a spy? You want me to gather intel from Admiral Goss regarding his bioanimals?
Captain, I would never suggest you do anything so subtle.
Probably for the best.
However, your ends are correct, even if the means are not what I'm suggesting. Whatever way you see fit, I'm saying beware of motives. I will leave you to your quarters. Lieutenant.
Captain,
Lieutenant.
may I come in?
Of course. I have an open-door policy for... I see you have a bioanimal with you.
I do. It's called an Evie. The doctor and the Admiral thought that perhaps you might want
Oh.
senses the strength in you, I think.
Not wrong.
Now, these creatures have an affinity to many sorts of elemental types. Captain, if you were a bioanimal, what sort of elemental type would you consider yourself?
Well, I suppose I could see myself as a bioanimal made of fire. Destructive and yet beautiful on its own right.
That seems very apt. Your reputation precedes you in Starfleet, and the Admiral and I sought out this engagement with you because we thought you would be uniquely qualified to help bring out the best in these bionicles.
Equally qualified. As I was just saying to my science officer, I know nothing about this.
It's more of an instinct thing than anything else.
I am very good at my instincts. Perhaps you could tell me a little more about these bioanimals.
It would be my honor. Yeah.
Let's start from the beginning. Where do they come from?
They come from all sorts of places. Different biomes. Some are even genetically engineered. How?
Really?
It's not commonly known, of course. Some might even say controversial. Some are legendary. No one knows where they come from. Greater power than any animal you might have encountered on Earth. I think if you were one of these bioanimals, you would be legendary.
Well, I must admit, you piqued my curiosity. Why don't you show me the process?
Until we reach the planet.
Just under an hour, sir.
Admiral, I love how much you are on board our ship. On the bridge.
Yes. It's been a while since I've been on a ship this size. Quite the experience. What does that panel there do?
That's Milligan. Milligan does navigation.
Ah, I see. And, what does Commander Spock over there do?
Well, Commander Spock is currently at tactical, but his truth place is over there at the science station.
I see. The science station. Tell me more about it.
There's all kinds of scientific endeavors that happen over here on the science station. Molecular biology, macro.
And that little view screen thing.
Yeah, you can look into it if you'd like to.
Oh, I see. And then we have your station here?
Yes, the communications console.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, it's, one false move and you can call and hail the wrong people, perhaps. I mean, you can open up a channel frequency and, well, it's just really complicated over here, so I'd appreciate it if you not.
I see.
Is there something we could help you with, Admiral?
Oh, I'm just looking around.
Well, be our guest.
Captain on the... Oh.
Ah, Captain.
Admiral.
Ah, good to see you.
Yes.
Captain, I am running a scan of the bridge. I'm currently trying to figure out where the odor is coming from. It is the same odor that I encountered at the transporter. I believe there is something malfunctioning within the ship. Captain, is your hand injured?
Captain, I've done a very quick calculation. I've determined that we can reach the planet faster if we increase speed.
Do so, Ensign.
Your crew is incredibly astute, I have to say, Captain.
They're the best Starfleet has to offer.
Your lieutenant here has been showing me around the bridge.
Thank you, Lieutenant, for doing that. Although I must say, Admiral, it is highly unusual for you to be on the bridge without a purpose.
Oh, I just like to come up every once in a while and see the view through the screen. It's a lot of stars, isn't it?
Space is full of stars.
Did you know, sir, that we can pipe this view to the screen in your quarters?
Can you? Can you?
Yes.
Show me how that works.
So,
Is there a button you press there?
yeah, there's a row of switches right here, and I just hit all of them until it happens.
That's about how I usually get my work done as well.
McCoy to bridge.
This is the captain.
Jim, are you reading the same thing I am with life signatures on the ship? They've multiplied 3 times in the last hour.
Send it to my chair array. It's basically a private console where I can look at whatever anyone sends.
I can't account for where they're coming from or even read the life signatures. It's something completely unknown to me.
Spock, why don't you have a look at this?
Very odd. There's an excessive amount of life signatures.
They keep appearing in different parts of the ship. Crew members stumble upon them and they disappear immediately. We have yet to catch one.
Captain, if there are strange creatures going throughout the ship, that may be why the smells are so strange. We do not know where they are getting into. After all, ever since the Admiral has arrived, things around here have smelled terrible.
Maybe I should return to my quarters.
Yes, certainly.
Ah,
It'll
yes.
be more relaxing there for you.
Captain, I would like to speak with you later if you have a chance.
Yes. Perhaps in the largest, most well-ventilated room on the ship.
Very good.
The Battle Dome.
The Battle Dome. I will meet you there.
Very good.
Captain, if there are plenty of small creatures going throughout the ship that we cannot track, I'm afraid as a science officer, it may be my duty to help collect them. I may have the most information.
Very well, Mr. Spock. Go catch them all. Standard issue battle dome for a Constitution-class starship.
What do you know, Captain, about these bioanimals?
Almost nothing.
Ah. Well, I'm sure you've heard they're mostly non-lethal.
Yes, so I was made to understand.
They usually do not affect humanoid species.
Also, I was made to understand that.
Yes. What would you say if I told you that we could change that? That with the right tools and the right people, we could make these bioanimals lethal.
For what purpose, Admiral?
For what purpose? That a man like you would understand, a man of war?
Admiral, need I remind you, the Enterprise is a ship of exploration. Our 5-year mission is one of exploration, not war.
And yet you are armed with phasers and torpedoes?
Security precautions, protection. Just because something in the universe might want to harm us and we might need to defend ourselves does not necessarily mean it is hostile.
Have you ever heard that the best defense is a good offense, Captain?
Yes, I have heard that. It has been roundly rejected by Starfleet.
Ha! Starfleet. Old fools, I tell you. They don't understand the power that lies in these bioanimals. We could harness them. With their power, we could grind the Klingons under our heel.
Admiral, our conflict with the Klingons will only reach a satisfactory resolution with diplomacy.
I'm disappointed to hear that from you, Kirk. I thought you were a man of action, a man of strength, a man of power, a man of good looks and great smells.
I am all those things. Yet, I'm also a man of reason and a man of peace. My desire is not to conquer unknown people. My desire is to explore them. Lieutenant Michaels.
Captain, Admiral, you asked me to bring Hypno.
Ah, yes. Have you met this particular creature, Captain?
I have not. So far, I've only met the Eevee.
Ah, a cute little creature at its base.
A psychic type. It has great power of influence over the human mind. When short-sighted humans fail to see the power that Starfleet can harness. Hypno, use hypnotize. See, Captain, we seek to protect the world from devastation. To unite all people within our nation. Renounce the evils of truth and love. To extend Starfleet's reach to the stars above.
Now do you understand, Captain?
Yes. I will do as you command.
Good. Turn to the bridge. Make sure our trip there is as fast as we can go.
I will return to the bridge and increase speed.
Wake!
Anything. In fact, I can't get anything out of this dag-blasted communications console. Ever since
Captain
that
on the
Admiral.
bridge. We are not going fast enough.
Yeah, warp 6, Captain.
Warp 6 is 3 warps too slow.
Maybe you should
Ensign Milligan is far too slow. I can handle this.
Warp 9, I mean, safe.
theoretical level.
We will go as fast as we can, because that is what is required.
Engineering to bridge. Our engines can't handle this speed.
Scotty.
Jim, what's wrong with you? There's human lives on this ship. They depend on you.
Nothing's wrong with me, Bones. I'm doing exactly what is required.
Are you?
Yes.
I may be unfit for
I think you might be.
Lieutenant, you're stronger than me. Ah! Oh.
Sit down, Captain.
Okay.
Just
I've been given orders.
orders from who?
Orders from the hypno thing.
Hypno.
Hypno thing? Damn it.
Mr. Spock.
Lieutenant, Doctor, what is going on?
He's been hypnotized. It shouldn't be possible, but certain biomes have psychic influences to them. The creatures can influence each other. We've never seen it extend to a human.
We're flying at warp 9.2, and there are like 30 messages from Mr. Scotland.
Billigan, slow the ship. Make sure you have any readings about going to warp 9.2. Measure them.
Mr. Spock, I'm declaring Jim unfit for duty. I believe that puts you in charge.
It does. I believe he knows what is going on, even if he doesn't know what is going on.
Well, he's not going to be able to tell us unless I can synthesize a certain berry.
He's not going to be able to tell you. He might be able to tell me.
Be careful, Mr. Spock. We don't know how these creatures...
Commander, what seems to be the problem here?
Has low blood pressure.
Oh.
That is a normal thing. Has happened all his life.
See, well, I guess that means I'm in charge now.
Well, technically...
Ensign, how fast are we going?
I just decreased speed back to warp 8, sir.
We'll increase it to 9.
I'm getting reports from engineering that that's not good for our engines, sir.
Damn your engines, we're in a hurry.
Alex, what in the blazes are you doing? What's come over you?
I'm doing what I have to do.
He's planning a battle.
A battle?
Yes. And this time, not just between the bioanimals each other, but between them and the evil Klingons.
This isn't like you, Alex. You love those creatures. 20 years ago, you were friends with them, and then you climbed on that rocket and flew away, and what became of you?
Friendship is useless. Only power matters.
We do a disservice to those creatures if we don't use them to their full potential.
You would lead us into battle blindly?
Oh, we aren't blind.
Doctor, I have read the captain's thoughts. He is leading us into battle with the Klingons.
Yes. But this time we will win that battle. With the help of our bioanimals, all 150 of them that are now on board.
You, stop interfering with the speed of the ship.
Admiral, I can't say it's not the first time we haven't attacked the Klingons with small creatures, but it has not been successful in the past. Why do you think it's going to be successful now? These creatures, they're small, they're tiny.
Yes,
they're
but
lovable.
Powerful. That power will overrun the Klingon Empire. Now, if you can't stand with me, get off my bridge!
Technically, he outranks us all, even me.
Stand down, Ensign.
Unfit for duty, Doctor.
Don't know that. He has Starfleet orders to do this research.
He doesn't have Starfleet orders. He rigged my console.
Can you prove that?
I can prove it. He rigged a message to the Klingons.
Enough!
Requesting a battle.
Nobody needs to hear from a woman.
She requested a battle,
Well,
Alexander.
you are gonna hear from this woman, Admiral. You have seized my console. You have aided and abetted in creating a war. You have dragged the Enterprise in it, and you have maybe cost the lives of all 435 people on board. And I will not stand for it.
You're hysterical, Lieutenant.
Oh, I'm not hysterical. You haven't seen hysterical yet.
Lieutenant!
Hold on, we're now sewing this the
Show
wrong
yourself!
way. Get away from each other. This isn't right for humans to fight each other. We should have other creatures do it for us.
Fight you, I choose you! Thunderbolts! Oh my God!
Here, take this, Lieutenant. Throw it down.
Oh my goodness.
It's a golem.
So powerful.
It's immune to thunderbolt.
Ensign, I choose you. Get in there.
Get in there and what, sir?
I don't know. Use your abilities.
Right, you use Volt Tackle.
Ouch!
my ability, I could drop the ship on a warp, sir.
Do something, do something. Come on, Madcarp Milligan.
Stop!
Shoot that! Oh!
No! No! I no longer have them all!
It's not fair! That was out of turn!
Damn it! Destroyed all our plans, Doctor.
If an ensign with a phaser could do that, what chance do you think they had against Klingons?
Right. We're defeated.
Jim, how are you feeling?
I have a headache. Oh, much better.
Captain, the Admiral attempted to seize the ship, going against Starfleet regulation.
Admiral Goss, I place you under arrest. You will be confined to your quarters until we can reach the nearest Starfleet outpost. You as well, Lieutenant.
As long as you don't put us in a small ball.
No, you'll be in your quarters.
Fair enough.
Ensign, take
way,
them away.
sir.
Jim, is it humane to put them both in the same quarters?
We'll be in separate quarters. Don't worry.
Captain, the Klingons are still expecting a battle. The Klingon leader is hailing us now.
This is Commander Voss of the Klingon Empire. We are ready to throw down.
Captain, it's been a long time since I have actually used my small animals. I am willing to transport them over to the Klingon ship to battle. It is mostly a bunch of small fish who will flop back and forth. But there are enough of them that perhaps they will combine their powers and become a very, very powerful, bigger fish. That still will not be actually as powerful as you want it to be.
Very well, Mr. Spock. That seems as good a plan as any. In the meantime, we'll reverse direction. Simply leave while they're dealing with the fish.
Very well.
I'm impressed, Mr. Spock. I have to say, your collection of animals you didn't even rename never seemed to have much use.
Mostly did it because I was trying to learn and trying to take in the information I could gain from them. But at the end of the day, I found that I had moved on to other scientific applications. I will go get my fish.
What happened here? I seem to have been charmed of something.
We were all charmed in our own ways. These creatures captured our imaginations and our hearts. They sent crew members out for years, seeking them out, meeting each other, making friends, but maybe with Admiral, whatever happened to him on that rocket, things turned south. He joined his own team. Not Starfleet. Some kind of rocket team of madness.
Well, we'll be made to answer for his crimes with Starfleet.
They're still good in them, I'm certain. They're smart, they're intelligent, they know more about these creatures than anybody. Perhaps there could be a use for them someday. If they are put under supervision. There's a Professor Oak back in Starfleet. You might still be willing to look out for them.
Very well, Miss... Boy, why don't you write a recommendation?
All right, I'll get right on that.
Scott is preparing to beam the fish over, Captain.
Very good. Engage. Character, Mr. Scott.
Scott here.
I'm giving you control. Get us the hell out of here.
Aye, sir. On your mark.